Hello everyone, welcome to our airBaltic Pilot Academy Open Day. Sorry we are a few minutes late, we had some technical issues we had to solve. But finally we're here and now I can finally say very welcome here. My name is Philip, I'm a flight instructor, theory instructor and also a first officer for airBaltic. And today we're going to take you through a PowerPoint slide. Then we will eventually move over to sly.do and do a Q&A if you have any questions, which you most likely will have. So let's go straight into the PowerPoint. First of all, we are a company, airBaltic, with over almost 2,400 employees right now, of which over 420 pilots exist. We are currently at 428, of which 84 people are actually our own from Pilot Academy, which means you will have a good future if you come and join us. The time to become a captain is approximately 5 years after you have finished the training, give or take maybe a year or two, depending on the situation, whether we need captains in the airlines or if you are ready, both requirement-wise and also mentally for it. In airBaltic, we have currently 31 nationalities, and I am from Sweden, for example. So we have a few from Scandinavia, all over Europe, and also elsewhere outside of Europe, actually. How is the future looking for airBaltic? That's a big question. Currently, we have actually 44th aircraft is arriving any day now. We currently have 43 and we have ordered up to 50 aircrafts with another option up to 80 aircrafts for the future. As we can see in the slide, we can see that by 2024 we should reach up to 50 aircrafts, and possibly from 2028 and forward maybe we will go even further. We'll see how the future goes. The aircraft that we are flying is the most modern aircraft in the world. It's the Airbus 220-300, which takes approximately 150 passengers, 149, actually down to 145, depending a little bit on which aircraft you're on. The range of the aircraft is up to 3,300 nautical miles, which is approximately 6,200 kilometers. And the fuel consumption in this aircraft is amazing. It is approximately 1,700 kilos an hour. And if you look at that for 150 passengers, that's not a lot if you look at the kilometers you can reach in terms of per fuel per hour, so to say, per passenger. So, what is the future? Well, airBaltic Pilot Academy is the perfect solution if you want to get into aviation and if you want to have a possible pilot career. And what do we have in airBaltic Pilot Academy? Well, we have an integrated course called an integrated ATPL course. And this course takes between 18 and 24 months to finish. It depends a little bit on when you start, how the weather is, and other factors which we can not really say at this time right now. But hopefully within 24 months from the time you start, you will be a CPL holder, which means a commercial pilot license holder, and will be able to operate the Airbus 220, hopefully. So, if I didn't mention it really before, airBaltic Pilot Academy, the reason why it exists is to provide airBaltic with pilots. And this is very unique for our school, that you join our school and we will teach you to join airBaltic from day one. And you will hopefully fly the 220 aircraft, which is once again the most modern aircraft in the world. airBaltic Pilot Academy also has very brand new Diamond aircrafts. We have Diamond 40 and Diamond 42s, and our next aircraft will actually arrive in the first quarter of 2024, where we will have 10 Diamond 40 and 42s. Also, a little bit, since I am an instructor, I had to add this into the slide. We practice you to be the best quality. We are trying to only have airline instructors, and we also have a few full-time, really good instructors who has been in general aviation for their entire career, and they know for sure what they are talking about. Then we have a few airline instructors, or quite a lot of those, who are trying to once again teach you how the airline operates and what you need in your commercial life as a pilot. And then the best part with this school is that the pilot work offer exists if you have passed the selection, which means, yeah, once again, if you pass and you do your ATPL, you love the career, you want to continue, then you have a job on the flying the 220 just ahead of you. So that's amazing. So what do you need to become a pilot? Well, there are a few minimum requirements for the program. These are some of them, and you need to be at least 18 years old. You need to hold a European Union or passport, and you also need to have a high school graduation certificate. You need to be able to, health-wise, be able to hold a Medical 1 certificate, and we will come back to this a little bit later, but you should also try to have that Medical 1 before you actually apply, just so you know, hey, I'm medically fit to pursue this career in the future. Then, of course, since we mentioned before, we have 31 different nationalities. I don't know 31 different languages, so we try to use English on a daily basis with all the employees in between. So therefore, good or excellent written and spoken English language is very well recommended, so to say. You also should not have any criminal record, and you should be able to swim, which I hope every one of us can do at this point. So what do you need in order to maybe go through the selection one day? Well, it's actually not too advanced. Don't be too afraid of yourself. The factors that you need or that you should improve in order to have a chance to succeed the selection is a high-level grades in math, physics, and English. And now we're not talking about some university science or anything like that. We're talking about still high school knowledge, yeah? Hey, can you do some simple math, physics, good English? Then you're more than fine. We will teach you the rest, I promise you. We will teach you the rest. You also, if you want to be a pilot, should have a good or actually excellent interest or very high interest and experience in aviation. Once you have started this journey, it's not really like you can say in a few years, yeah, this wasn't really for me, I want to do something else, because you invest a lot of time and money into this education. You should have some good cognitive abilities, what and exactly what, how. We will come back to later, because I think you will have some questions about these abilities that we will test you out during the selection process. You should also try, I'm not the best at this, to have a healthy and active lifestyle. I'm not having that really, but you should try to at least. And then you should have a very positive personality traits. Try to stay positive in life, follow the dream, follow your career path, and do what you want to do, not what someone else has told you to do. That will lead you to an excellent future career, I can tell you. So now we're going to get into the more nervous part, or what maybe some of you are a little bit afraid about, which is the selection process. The selection process might sound tricky initially, so let me just run this through, and then I'm going to tell you my honest opinion about them, okay? So, we get all the applications in. Now what? Well, the first thing that we will do is, once we have received all the applications, is we're going to send out the first test. This you will do at home, where you will try our English, math, and physics exams. Once again, we are not asking you for some amazing formulas that you needed these huge papers for when you did some secondary high school grades. No, we're talking about some basic stuff like, hey, if you have a slope, you have a wheel that is maybe 2 meters in diameter, the wheel. How many times would it take for it to roll down? a 200-meter slope. Use the pi of 3 instead of 3.14. It's basic stuff that you don't need a calculator to do. And yeah, I'm sure that if you just practice a little bit at home, you will do this absolutely fine. What about the physics? Well, physics can also, it's not too hard per se what we are testing you at. It can be as simple as, hey, you have two batteries parallel. What is the amps or volts output once these are parallel or like connected in series? It's not too advanced, just some basic stuff. Then we have some general mental abilities. And what we're looking at here is maybe memory, stress tolerance, spatial orientation. Can you turn and twist cubes around? If you have a dice, what's going to be on the other side of that? And then, of course, we will also try maybe some simultaneous capacity, which is, hey, if you need to hold this water bottle in one hand and move it up and down and do something else at the same time. We're not going to use water bottles, but it will be some tests on the computer. If everything is successful so far, we will then arrive to the on-site selection, which is when you come here to Riga, and you will meet our psychologist who will talk to you, have a conversation about you, about life, what you want to do in life, what you have been through, and everything else. To just see if this is really, once again, for you or not, because maybe you think this is for you, but in reality, maybe this is not what we think you should do in 5-10 years. We might think you will be tired of it in a few years. So this is just to, once again, see how you are as a person, if this is career choice for you or not. And finally, we have the final interview with our chief pilots, with the head of training for Pilot Academy, where they will ask you questions, see how you are as a person, whether you can cope with the training or not, because it's quite tough actually. I mean, it's like we mentioned before, 18 to 24 months of quite hard studies, Monday to Sunday, 7 days a week, 10 hours a day. Yeah, it's quite tough. You could almost say like it's a 3 years university course taken down to approximately 18 months studies. So it's quite tough. But I can tell you like this, the reward is challenging. The reward is amazing once you come out on the other side, sorry. Another thing that I want to mention is, yeah, you can see here on the screen that if we start with 200 applicants, we will eventually narrow it down to 12. Well, that's some rough figures, you know, and we are not looking to do anything with numbers. We are trying to select the correct people for the correct position. And the only thing I can promise you for sure is that if you don't apply, you have an absolute 0% of joining. If you do apply, then at least there's a chance, maybe even a high chance. I can tell you a little bit about my choice when I started to study. I sat at home. I wanted to become a pilot since I was 3 years old. I was 19 when I sat at home and I was thinking, oh, what should I do? And I never dared to apply because I thought, hey, the process is too big. I don't know where to start. It's too challenging. So I actually never applied. 1 year later, my friend just applied. He got in his training school. So I said, well, if he can get in, then so can I. So I did the same. I went home that day and I just filled in all the papers, what I needed to fill in, and I sent it away. It took me 20 minutes. And now, a couple of years later, here I am. So if I were you, just send in the documents, send in the CV, write down some questions that we will have for you, why you want to pursue this dream, and maybe this is the start of a very long and wonderful journey. So, how much does the training cost? Well, the cost is 89,000 euros, but you don't really need to pay it up front anymore. And this is, once again, such a unique opportunity that we provide you here with airBaltic Pilot Academy. Why? Because what you will do, of course, if you need to, if you want to pay 89,000 up front, feel free to do it. But if you want to, you only need to put a down payment of 25,000 euros. With this 25,000 euros, you will actually start, you will study the ATPL subjects, you will do them, and then you will also fly 45 hours approximately. Once you have done all of this, then you will go in for a secondary selection where we say, hey, we want to look at, yeah, did you perform well or not? Are we sure we want to have you in the airline? And we will most likely say, yes, for sure, because you studied very well. So what do? Well, then we say, okay, you know what? We will pay for the rest of your training, so you don't need to pay upfront anymore. And we will pay the remaining 64,000 euros. However, once you have started flying, once you have gotten your job, then you will get a reduced salary. And this is only once you have started your job, started having a normal salary, so we will not put you in a financially unstable position. And then you will pay this remaining 64,000 plus a small interest fee back to us over 5 years' time. So what does the airBaltic loan actually do? Well, if you go in for the airBaltic loan, then like we said before, you will do the theory, you will do the 45 hours of flying, and then we take this performance review, and hopefully you will be successful in that. Then, once you receive your successful review, then you will go into a training work schedule, which means that you will, at that point, only have the flying left, the fun stuff left, where you will fly for example, 2 weeks, and then you will work for airBaltic as a company for 2 weeks. Not as a pilot, because you don't have your CPL license yet, but maybe as a ramp agent or in the office, other positions. And you will, in that case, both have a salary at the same time when you're working, plus you get this loan and you will do your training at the same time. And which position you will get will depend a little bit based on your previous education and your skills that you have from life so far. And like we mentioned before, this loan repayment will only start after you have gotten the job as a first officer in the airline, once you have a good salary, or once you're financially set, or financially stable at least. When does the next, or when are the starting dates? Well, for this year we only have one left. It's now in November the 6th. So we have a few spots left, I think I heard before we started this. And if you want to be in that course, I want to go now, then you need to send in the paper almost today, because the last date to have everything ready and the 25,000 payment done is by the 2nd of October. Otherwise, we are planning to have 2 more courses for 2024, the beginning of the 2024. In total, we're going to have 4 courses next year. We will have a course starting PA21 in February and number 22 in April. In our academy, we teach you, like I mentioned before, to the pilot standard that we want in airBaltic already from day one, which means full uniform. We want you to have be on time, be ready, and try to teach you what you need to be able to fly the 220 one day. The course itself is divided into a few parts. So, of course, like we mentioned before, we will start with the classroom studies, both with the instructor. It will be with your iPad and self-study as well for that sense. That has a certain amount of hours, takes approximately 9 months to finish all the theory. And then we come to the fun stuff, which is the flight training itself, where we fly the Diamond 40 single engine piston. And then eventually in the later stage, you will go into the simulator, because we have a Diamond 40 and 42 simulator, where you will fly approximately 40 hours in total in that simulator, 60 if you include the multi-pilot, or multi-twin propeller. And then eventually you will go back again to fly the 42, the Diamond 42, which is a two-engined aircraft or two-propellered aircraft. Then the UPRT, where we practice a little bit more aerobatic stuff, upset recovery course. Followed by the most likely funniest time of your life, which is the APS MCC, which is actually when you get to be in the Airbus 220 full flight simulator for 20 hours. And during these 20 hours, you will start to learn how to be trained into a multi-crew environment where you are actually two pilots instead of one, where we help each other out, because 1 + 1 is in aviation actually more than 2, not 2. And all in all, this will take you approximately between 18 and 24 months to study. In the Pilot Academy, we currently have 9 aircrafts, going up for 10 aircraft by the first quarter of 2024. We have operational bases in Liepāja, Riga, and Ventspils. And if you are like I was a few years ago, who had no idea where pretty much either one of these places are, then I can tell you Riga is the capital of Latvia. That's where we are right now in the headquarters. And then we have our flying base in Liepāja. Riga will be the theory base, where you will do the theory and also the simulators. And then we also have Ventspils as a base right now, which is where we do a bit of night flying and also a little bit of day flying in the beginning of your flight training. So why do we continue having all of these classes, 4 classes a year? Well, the reason is because airBaltic needs pilots. Like we mentioned before, we are currently having an order of 50 aircrafts, and if we take an easy sum of you need 10 pilots per 1 aircraft, that means we will need 500 pilots once we are fully operational with 50 aircrafts. We are currently at around 430, like we mentioned before, so we need an additional 70 just to cope with the aircrafts coming in. And then what? Then you might think, well, then you're already set, right? No, the actual thing is that pilots go into pension as well, believe it or not. And also pilots are leaving, pilots are joining. For example, I'm from Sweden. If I want to go home to Sweden maybe one day, then you need someone to fill me in, or other cases that happens in life. So we actually need approximately 50 pilots a year for the entire future. And where are we going to get those pilots? Yeah, we're going to get them from Pilot Academy. So that's why we have 4 classes a year to protect these 50 pilots that are coming in every year. And then in approximately maybe 2.5 years, if you apply now, then you will be a CPL holder, commercial pilot license holder, and you will finally get your first salary. So what will that salary be like? Well, here's a rough estimate, an average income. And as you can see, it has several levels into it. And you can see before tax and after tax. And once again, this is average. You can make it higher, you can make it lower as well. You start for the first few months with FO level 0, where you can see that it's not too much. It's only 26,000 euros after tax, but it's going to rapidly increase because that FO level 0 will only last for a few months. It's when you're doing your training on the Airbus 220, that's when you get that salary. After a few months, you have eventually reached your first level, the First Officer level 1, where you can expect a salary of approximately 36,000 euros after tax. That, give or take, is approximately 3,000 euros. I would even dare, because I've asked my colleagues, to say that you can most likely expect a bit more than that, because we also fly during the nights, maybe during red days, maybe we fly more than 60 hours, and so on. So then the salary might go up quite quickly, as you might see in the future. Then, of course, I should also once again mention that if you're on the airline loan program, then once you reach that FO level, part in between 0 and 1, you will actually start to pay off a little bit of your loan of 64,000. So what you might see on your bank account might be a little bit lower than this just because you're paying off that loan. However, if you think about it, after 5 years, you have paid off your loan. At that time, you should be approximately by the captain, level 1. You have no loans left, and you're cashing in maybe 60, even more, 70,000 euros a year. That's quite a nice house you can buy right there, or a computer, or something else that you might have interest in. Is there any other benefits that we have as pilots for airBaltic? Yes, there are. We have unlimited home leave tickets, which means, for example, me, I can go back to Sweden how often I want to. Do I do it? Nope, I don't, because I have now kind of committed to Latvia. But yes, you can travel back home wherever you live, unlimited, for a very, very big discount. You will only pay the airport taxes. So just to give like an idea of how those taxes are, for example, if I want to go to Sweden and back from Sweden, it will, for me in total, with home leave tickets, cost 30 euros back and forth. I think the cab to the airport will be more expensive than the actual tickets itself. Then you will also have the best part of life, ID tickets, which means with over 90 airlines in the world, you can travel with approximately 90% discount, which is amazing. So you can travel, go to Spain if you want to, and back with your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever the case is, for less than 100 euros. Amazing during the summer peak. And the ID tickets is also valid for your parents, for your girlfriend, boyfriend, kids as well, if you have those. You also have paid vacation, 20 days per annum. This is 20 working days. So if you keep in mind that you have also a working week is consisting of 5 days, so you have 4 weeks per year of official vacation. But you do get quite a bit more off time than that, I can tell you, because of the schedule of how we are being scheduled. So you can easily get way more than that per year. And then, of course, all the trainings, the validations, the medical, visas, and other costs are, of course, covered as well. Then we have medical insurance. So if I would, knock on wood, lose my medical license, I will get approximately 100,000 euros back to cover the cost that I put into this training. You will also have health insurance and, of course, accidental insurance. So where are all the students who are studying in Pilot Academy from? Are they all from Latvia? Well, the answer is no. We have students from pretty much everywhere, it feels like, all over Europe, including Sweden, which makes me very happy and proud. We also go down into the Western Europe for sure. In Latvia, we are soon covering the entire map. I will not even attempt to say this towns or cities that the new most recent joiners came in from, because my Latvian is limited to ordering at McDonald's and saying thank you, pretty much. And that's pretty much it from the briefing. So here are social media, airBaltic Pilot Academy in Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and everywhere, pretty much. You can find us there. If you have questions, for sure, can for sure ask them there at any time you want, and our professionals will come back to you with a nice answer. Otherwise, if you have questions straight away, we will have a sly.do link for you. So if you go into sly.do and write in the password Pilot Academy or PA 09er23, so Papa Alpha 09er23, then you will get access to the questions where you can put me into a tricky situation or not. It's up to you. So until then, we will take a small break, I guess, and then I will see you in a few minutes shortly, and please provide me with your best shots, and let's see if I can face them. See you soon. Hello again, welcome back. I can see that the questions are popping in quicker than I ever would have imagined. We're already up in 34 questions, so let's see if you put me in a sunshine spot here or not. The first question, if I don't pass the entrance exam, when can I reapply? There's conflicting information in previous videos. Well, as much as I've heard, and I also spoke to my colleagues just now about it, depending a little bit on what you have failed. So if it's, for example, math, physics, English, then you can reapply again approximately 1 year. If there are other things such as psychologist, then it might be a little bit different or not even possible to apply again, unfortunately. So depending on what you have been informed, but I'm sure you can ask a question straight away if you have failed in your exam, and you will get a more clearer answer if you send it by email. Hello, when I finish the training and start working for airBaltic, would I need to live in Riga or could I also move back to my home country and fly from there? Well, technically you could live in your home country, but I strongly go against it because this will be a very full-time training where you will be on site in the training center in Riga 5 days a week. When you fly, you will be in Liepaja pretty much 5 days a week. So I don't think you really can manage to go back and forth all the time. However, if you have a weekend off or a few days off, then you can for sure go back home. We will also help you to provide you with ID tickets. What percentage of students get airline provided loan? Well, if you pass, then everyone gets it, assuming that you want it, of course. What has been your biggest challenge while going through learning the academy? Well, the biggest challenge is most likely the first few weeks when you have to get used to the amount of studies that goes into this training. So for example, me, I was a little bit lazy before I started this my training. I like to play computer games, and then from day one I had to just sit with the books and the computer in a different way, reading rather than playing games, approximately 10-12 hours a day. That took a time to get used to. Otherwise, it is very straightforward from day one, and you know exactly what you have ahead of you. So it's not that big of a challenge, to be honest. If I would like to start in autumn 2024, when should I apply? Well, I recommend you to already apply now. But of course, approximately maybe 6 months is good advice to apply, and then take it from there, because the spots fill out pretty quickly, since this is such a unique opportunity that we provide, where we pay pretty much all your, or you don't have to take a private loan. So it's very unique. Follow-up question about the place of residence. I meant after the training, so when I'm working for airBaltic. Then yes, you can live in your home country for sure. But of course, well, I'll be honest, things might change from today until 2 years when you join airBaltic. But as it looks right now, you should be in Riga or flying from one of our bases 5 days, and then where you go on your days off is completely up to you. How does the learning schedule look like? Is it possible to work and study? Well, not doing the theory, I strongly go against it. Once again, you need to study 10 hours a day minimum. Then you need to eat, sleep, go to the toilet. So during the theory, no, it's not really possible. And once you are done with the theory and flying, then yes, it's possible. But you will need to be on site in Liepaja to actually fly the plane. We cannot do it digitally anymore. And then you can do work at the same time. We also provide you with a work if you go for the loan program. How can I prepare for the on-site assessment? Like we mentioned before, on-site assessment would consist of the psychologist and the interviews mostly. So I would strongly advise you to maybe prepare some questions, what you think we might ask you in your head a little bit. Get good rest, be in a very happy mood, and you should be more than fine on the on-site assessment. How many instructors are there in Pilot Academy? Jesus. So we are approximately 12 instructors, I think, in Liepaja flying the aircraft. And right now we are almost 20 theory instructor, I think, in Riga, most of which 95% are from the airline, first officers and captains from the airlines who are instructors. Am I guaranteed to get a job as a pilot at airBaltic after completing the training program? Yes, if you pass the selection. So for example, if you go for the airline loan program, after 9 months you have your assessment, then if you pass that one, then yes, you will get a job in airBaltic, as long as you don't decide to quit yourself. How do I increase my chances of applying the airBaltic Pilot Academy? Thank you. Well, you increase your chances by, when you apply, you write a CV, you write a motivational letter, you make it look nice, you show why you want to be in this field of duty or have a job as a pilot. And I'm very sure that you will get through to the next assessment for math and physics. If I pass the application process, can I choose to start a course at a later time, like 6 to 12 months later? And the answer is yes, you can. Does training take longer if I get the loan and have to work while training? Well, our mindset is that it shouldn't take you longer, but practically it might take you a little bit longer, to be honest, because if you're only flying 2 weeks, and those 2 weeks, the weather is really bad, then yeah, you get a little bit behind compared to someone who has not paid it. But I can tell you that 99% of the people take the loan program. And it's also very good for your future, because if you worked as a ramp agent, that's a knowledge you will never forget. Can we contact you if we have some more questions at a later stage? Well, yes, you can contact me personally, and here's my number. No. Yes, you can always contact us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, write an email, and we will come back with an answer, most likely more detailed than I can provide you with anyway. In the math and physics test, what percentage do you need to achieve to pass? Is there enough time to complete all the tasks? Well, I can tell you one thing. I passed it. So if I can pass, then you can pass. And yes, there is time to pass, and also the percentage is unknown. I don't know it even. Hi, I'm 43 years old. What are my chances to qualify as a cadet to become airBaltic pilot then? Well, you're 43 years old. That means you have 22 years left of your flying career. You will start your career, and you will also get tired of your career before you reach pension. So don't worry about that. We usually say below 45, that's a good aim to start your career. How much time in advance should I apply? Is there a minimum, maximum time? Well, you need to go through all the documentation, all the selection process, and you should also have a medical before you can start your training. So I would say minimum 1 month, 1.5, max time, put it a year. Can I apply before passing the Class 1 medical if my appointment is later? Yes, you can. Yeah. Is it true that re-applicants are less likely to get accepted? I applied a year ago and would like to try again. The answer is no. You are equally likely to get accepted. It all depends on you and your tests. If I will start working in airBaltic as flight attendant, what will be the chances to get the airline-sponsored loan for pilot training? Well, I would say it's actually exactly equally much, because you working as a flight attendant is great for you and your career for sure, but you still need to pass the selection process equally much, and we are all equal in front of that selection board, trust me. Then I can tell you, when you are starting to work or doing this 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, then it's great if you have been a flight attendant, because then you can do that during those 2 weeks. Where can I get EASA medical certificate? Well, depending on in which country you are from, Leonardo. You can also get it here in Latvia. It's up to you. Any Medical One facility can issue a EASA medical certificate. What is the recommended age to start the training? Is there a maximum for age? Well, I would personally put it at 45. I have met people who are 50, but yeah, the problem is that the training is quite tough, yeah? And the older, I mean, I'm only 26 I am now. And I can already feel how my mental strength is going down each day. So if you're 50, well, still possible. If I pass the Lufthansa assessment, is this certificate accepted by airBaltic? The answer is no. You still need to pass airBaltic's assessment, but if you have passed the Lufthansa, well, it's a great start, and hopefully you can pass the airBaltic too. How many flight hours does an airBaltic make on average per year? Well, the goal is to have 850 hours a year. The maximum limit, according to EASA, is 900. This year I have flown so far, it's September, I have flown approximately 600 hours, but I'm of course a flight instructor as well, so I fly maybe a little bit more than the average first officer. But yeah, that's a goal, 800 hours a year. How can we prepare for the assessment and how long is the process? Well, I think I've already told you the preparation for it, and the process is approximately 3 weeks' time. In case of possible economic downturn and no need for new pilots anymore, would the loan be forgiven in case of not getting the job? Well, I would need to see the contract itself, but if I'm not completely mistaken, the program or the contract that you will sign will be that, hey, if airBaltic provides you with the loan, they will give you the finances for it. And if they cannot give you a job offer, then it's a different situation. So maybe unclear answer. I think you're safe, but don't take my word. Do I increase my chances to pass the application process if I know, for example, 3 languages, have a law degree, and worked in the police for 4 years? Well, it sounds like you have done your part for the society, and now it's time for you to enjoy your life as a pilot. But no, yeah, it doesn't give you any advantage. Is it an advantage if I already have a medical one? Yes, because then you know your health is fit at least. Can I retry the test immediately in case I fail one of the stages, or is there some blocked time where you cannot apply? No, you need a blocked time to train yourself up again. So minimum 1 year. Can I get a loan even if I don't have any previous working experience? This is the best part. Yes, you can, because we want you to be a pilot for airBaltic. Therefore, we give you the loan, no matter if you have been something else before or not. I would like to start in early 2025. Can I apply now already? No, it's a little bit too early, I would say. What is the pilot philosophy of airBaltic? Safety, cost, efficiency, sustainability. Well, safety is always first. Of course, punctuality is second. Yeah, I'm not really sure, really, what the question is. Sorry. How many groups each year joins the academy? 4. How many monthly working hours and flight hours does an average airBaltic pilot have? Average, I would say 70, 80 hours a month, and flight hours, 800 a year, approximately. Are there possibilities to combine working in the office and flying as a pilot, and how does the concept look like? Well, look at me. I'm working in the office and flying at the same time. I do like almost 2 weeks each part, so yeah, it's possible. How is the theoretical part organized? Is it divided in phases followed by a certain number of exams, or is it theory followed by ATPL exams? So it's 3 phases, 6 subjects in the first one, 4 in the second, 3 in the third one. And then once you're done with each phase, you do the exams in that phase, then you forget about it and move on to the next one. If cadets have a flight skill experience, will be there additional questions? No, but it will maybe be questions, how did you like flying, for example? It will also be a little bit of an advantage, because if you have been doing some flying and then going for assessment, that means that, hey, this is something you really want to pursue. How much do I need for daily life in Riga, for rent, an apartment, and doing groceries? Well, I would say if you have Well, if I say like this, the average income in Latvia is 800 euros a monthly, after tax, sorry. Then if they can survive, then so can you, I'm sure, if you don't have kids and other things. Apartment, 30 square foot, maybe 300 euros a month, max. And groceries, 200 euros more, I don't know, stuff like that. What are the most common nationalities? Baltic states, I would say. After the Baltic states, we have the French people and the Spanish people. When is the next available starting date? 6th of November. PA0923, nice password. If I have my license from EASA and I want to do the type rating with you, which are the conditions? Well, unfortunately, you cannot join as if you already have a CPL license. Then you need to join airBaltic by going into their website, and you need minimum 2,750 hours, I think, right now. After being released as FOs, are we obligated to live in Riga, or does the airline offer a commuting contract? I think I've already answered this. A commuting contract might be on the door in the upcoming years, we'll see. Does successfully completing the physics and math test automatically lead to an invitation for the psychologist and HR interview? Yes, it does. Sorry. What's English level needed? Like, all of those. Well, let's see now. Is it B1? That is the requirement, or B2? I'm not sure. It's not too advanced. You should be more than fine. I think it's B1 or A2, if I'm not completely off. Something in that area, but we are actually looking at the ICAO level and not those other English test levels. Thank you for the open day and the way you're motivating us. Thank you very much. Janne, hi. Do you offer some help finding accommodation in Riga? Well, I actually honestly don't think you need it, because there are so many websites where you can find it yourself. If you need help, then we can of course help you into the direction or where you should look. Can I work as cabin crew with airBaltic while doing the training? I've already answered this question, I think. Do you have accommodation? It's for me and my girlfriend and our dog and hopefully a cat in the future. Yeah, I have my own accommodation. How long is the total bond with the airline, provided that the qualification for that we qualified for the financial support? The bond itself for the type rating is 3 years, and that's on the side. And then you have a 5 years bond with repayment of the loan. That's 5 years. So you do the math, it's approximately 70 months. How many questions on exams, English, math, physics? Well, I'm sure it's enough for everyone to pass without having, one small mistake by accident, and that messes us all up. So I'm sure it's enough. Do you need to have an English language certification? No, it will be provided from airBaltic. Is the self-funding installment really 25,000 euros right now, or are there additional initial costs? No, that's what I'm telling you. It's only 25,000. This is the most unique opportunity in Europe right now. 25,000, airline will pay for the rest after 9 months. It's crazy. Like me and my colleagues, we are just laughing about it, because back in our days, we had to pay up 100,000 euros, plus then pay a type rating. Now you get that for free as well. Yeah. It's crazy. What was the reason for you to join airBaltic? Well, I joined in January 2020 on the 737 and did my type rating there. And at that time it was because one of my best friends went to airBaltic. I just finished flight school at that time. airBaltic seemed like a nice company, which it turned out to be as well. Close to Sweden, which I liked. So I went for it. And then 3 months later, the story started with COVID. Does your age affect your chances to be accepted into the training program? No, it does not. High school diploma may or may not include physics. Does the minimum requirement include a grade in physics? The answer is no, it does not. Hello Evans, I was not accepted to the academy, unfortunately, without a clear reason. I fit all the requirements. Will I have to chance to go down as a pilot again? Well, apply again and then we'll see if you can get in or not. Hopefully you can. If I have a PPL, does it provide any additional advantage? Does it sufficiently demonstrate my motivation to pursue this career? Yes, it does, because if you already have a PPL and now you want to get paid for flying, then you get a commercial pilot license. So yes, it does show motivation for you to pursue this career. Also, it might actually reduce the cost a little bit because you have already paid part of your training. Isn't that perfect? Does the SKY test good prepare for general exams, or what test can you recommend? Well, SKY test, if I'm not completely wrong, is mostly for the Lufthansa group, and that's already for qualified pilots. I recommend you to read up on math, physics, the basics, how to do division without a calculator, because I had a hard time remembering that when I had to study for it. And that should be more than enough, like in my opinion. Could you recommend for preparation? Please don't tell us, Google some. No, I will not tell you, but I just said in the previous question, so I hope that provides with an answer. If I fail the psychologist interview, does that mean I can no longer apply again? No, it does not, but it's individual. And what happened in your interview, I cannot speak about because I don't know, sorry. Could it play some role in selection process if I live 70 kilometers from training center? Is there any restriction for cadets how far from training center they can live? No, it will not play a role in any way at all. I don't see a reason why it would. How long do medical certificates last? They last for 1 year at a time, then you will renew them, and some parts of it are lasting for 5 years, for example, ears, ears, heart, and something else. I don't remember exactly. Is Class 1 medical paid by the Academy or is it own expense? It is paid by the Academy, but if you do it in another country, then you can get a reimbursement of a certain amount as well. If I have ICAO not validate to EASA certificate, that's good, or before applying I should validate it. Well, it's unfortunately not good enough. You need to have an EASA certificate. Personally, how did you perform on the math and physics test? How did you feel afterward? Well, I felt most likely like everyone else. This went very bad. But turned out it was good. I mean, the tests are not made to have 100% correct answers, right? So, yeah. I should also maybe mention, I haven't done those tests as they are in this format. How long does the assessment process take? 3 weeks, I've told you before. What kind of previous flight experience is an advantage? If you have a PPL, that's a very good advantage. If I have played Flight Simulator for the last 5 years, have full setup and know how to fly the plane, will it give me an advantage? The answer is no. As a flight instructor, I can even say that sometimes it might actually be on the other side, because then you come in thinking, hey, I know how to fly this Boeing 747 or Microsoft Flight Simulator. And then you come to me to fly the Diamond 40, and I'm telling you, well, we only have 1 engine, not 4. How can I prepare for the assessments? I've already answered this one. Do you have statistics of cadets with which IQ? No. No. Is it okay to come to Latwit with my spouse, kid for the training? Absolutely. But for them, depending a little bit on if you are in EU, of course. Then yeah. Why do captain salaries decrease so much since the open day numbers of the PowerPoint from the 6 months ago? But no, maybe it was because I spoke about the net salaries, and maybe the previous PowerPoints has spoken more about the before tax salaries. But if you look at the green and the gray area, you see that the salaries are exactly the same. And trust me, believe me on this one, they haven't gone down, but I want them to go up. What is the success percentage at each phase? Hard to say. Depending on class, time of month, time of day. In total, I would say it's 95%, 97% of the people pass through everything. That I know, that data. Do I still have to do English test if I have a Cambridge C1 certificate? You still have to do, you need a ELP, is called English Language Proficiency Test, made by ICAO or IASA, in your certificate, in your CPL license. And that you will have to do again, no matter if you are from London or wherever you are from. You always have to do it. What is the reduction of the 25,000 if I hold a PPL? Good question. That is individually, depending on where you have flown, how many hours you have flown. I have no idea. Regarding the statement of high school grades, is it necessary to provide a translated version of the high school certificate? No, it's not. You can send it as it is, and we will communicate between. If I have a class 1 medical certificate and have undergone a psychological interview, does this mean I don't need to worry about the airBaltic psychologist? Well, I cannot guarantee anything, but if you feel like you are mentally there, everything is good in your life, you have no bad intentions, and you look on your future positively, then you should be fine. About the success percentage at each phase, it was meaning for the assessment to join Pilot Academy. Thank you for your time. Oh, sorry. Hard to say. Well, I would say approximately 10 to 15% passes everything, if you look at from all the people who applied. And then from each, it's like reducing maybe by, I have no idea. It's not part of my job. I'm sorry. Any advice for admission? Well, I've given you plenty of advices already. I think we have set it up already. Final question. If I got 34% on my math optimal level exam in 11th grade, currently 12th grade, does that reduce my chances to apply? Well, no, it does not, because you can still study, right? And you can still study up. Can you choose where to fly? You can bid where to fly. For example, I bidded that now I'm working for Pilot Academy for 2 weeks. After those 2 weeks, I really wanted to fly to Dubai and have a short little mini vacation there. So I bidded for it, and guess what? I'm going to Dubai. So that's it for all the questions. Thank you very much for this open day. I hope you have had a good time, and I hope to see you in the selection process very soon. Thank you, and have a good day. Bye-bye.